Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, August 27, 2013. This is your Island Blader speaking. Here's what's happening. Well, as if seeing Mark Sanchez get hurt wasn't enough, by the way, turns out he just has something, a bruise in his shoulder. So, while he won't play in Thursday's preseason finale against the Eagles, will he be ready for September 8th? That's a question that remains to be answered at a later date. Anyway. Two very awful stories in a span of 24 hours for us Met fans. And for us sports junkies out there, many Jet fans are Met fans. So for good measure, while we're still kind of wondering about this whole, thing with, obviously, reeling about Sanchez and Smith and everything else in Florham Park, now moving over to Flushing, Queens, okay? Yesterday, out of the blue, we learned that Matt Harvey had some sort of tear in his UCL, whatever that stands for. Obviously, it might be an arm thing, whatever. It turns out that it might lead to Tommy John surgery, and that he's going to go ahead, obviously, with the Tommy John surgery for the best of his health. Now, he'd been complaining about a little bit of pain, but he still continued anyway. So, and we all know how long Tommy John surgery is going to take. So, Matt Harvey is done for this season and probably all of next season. So, we're not seeing number 33 in a Met uniform until 2015. So now, as if that's not painful enough, this morning we find out that Marlon Byrd, yes, the Byrd is the word, gets traded to a National League team. It turns out that National League team ended up being the Pittsburgh Pirates, a team playing their best baseball in like 20 years. Okay? And going with him, John Buck. Yes. Two veteran presences and two of the better hitters on this team with already an inept offense and with their best hitter, out, David Wright that is, and you trade him. I mean that's a complete mail-in. Okay? If you look at matters and it's just like, and the team had lost 4 in a row. They're coming off being swept by the Detroit Tigers. They're going into a series yesterday with the hated Phillies, and all of a sudden, you find out about Harvey. It's obviously the team is demoralized and everything else, and of course the inept offense didn't show up to play again. They scored 1 run, lost 2-1. Zach Wheeler took a tough loss, But it seems like the Mets have mailed it in. Right now they stand at 58-71 with 33 games to go, and it's, really, can that hurt even more? Mailing in the season, like I said, the National League is you pretty much already see the 5 teams that are going to the playoffs out of the National League anyway. But, in 24 hours, this is what happens? You lose your best pitcher, and you lose two of your better hitters. Veterans also. Okay. Here's the thing. With these injuries with the Mets, Zach Wheeler got taken out cautiously by Collins after he threw, I don't know how many threw. Did he throw like 105 yesterday? But, Terry had to explain to him, after what happened with Harvey, Terry's going to start being cautious with all his pitchers. We've gotten on Terry Collins for all the micromanaging he does during games. And yeah, it's a bummer, and how do they respond? Right in the middle of playing the scumbag Phillies. Unbelievable. Who obviously are going through their own issues. I'm still shocked about the Phillies firing Charlie Manuel. Could you have done it in a worse way? I know the Phillies aren't that good. The Phillies have stunk this year. And their best hitter, is out for the year, Ryan Howard. But if you were going to dismiss Manuel, do it at the end of the year. He only was your best manager of all time in that franchise. But whatever, stick to your cheesesteaks. Anyway, but back to the Mets. It's a shame. It's really a shame. This is almost like the Jets. Getting rid of your star players because either you can't afford them. We all know. We all know the Wilpons are broke. And the Madoff, the Bernie Madoff thing just gets them more and more and more seemingly each year. 2011 it was Reyes and Beltran. And then, last year, after last year was over, Mr. Cy Young Dickey, after Johan Santana throws the no-hitter, he gets maybe a couple more starts. Little Reno, Johan is hurt and hasn't pitched since. So, I mean, and now you have this year, only the Mets, And while I'm at it, I mean, like I said, Met and Jet fans, Met fans usually Jet fans. What did we do to deserve this? What did we ever do to deserve this punishment with our teams? Whether it be collapses or just watching our big brothers contend every year or what? I mean, in the last 15 to 20 years, I mean, who's had the more success? I mean, the Mets have only made the playoffs three times in the last 15 years. The Jets have had a little more, have had some more playoff appearances, but every time we have high hope for the Jets, they end up being crap, and vice versa. So, what did we ever do? Just because we root for the little brothers in this town, the less known, the team that gets laughed at more than the other. I mean, do we fans deserve this punishment? I mean, I know I came on here once, berating, talking about Jet fans and how we're never grateful and how we don't behave ourselves. And, obviously, we always have high hope because we're supposed to. But you find that in any city. But, obviously, being in New York, we're one of the biggest fan bases, if not the biggest fan bases in America. Even though despite having at least 2 of every sport. Hockey, 3. But, really. It's just agita, and it's the same crap over and over and over. And we're Met and Jet fans. But but you know what though? We're idiots. But you know what though? If we were idiots, rooting for these inept teams, you know what? It wouldn't be as fun. It wouldn't. The Yankees always get there. The Giants always contend. Hey, in my lifetime, the Giants have won. How many Super Bowls have the Giants won? Like 3, I think. 4 Super Bowl appearances, 3 Super Bowl titles. What have the Jets done in my lifetime? When's the last time the Mets won a championship? Unfortunately, I was in my mom's tummy. So, barely forming. So, I mean, really. It's the pain and agita, and it just never goes away. But it's part of the experience of rooting for the little brothers, And then you got, and another little brother in this town, the Islanders. The Islanders, go to the same, the Islanders are so bad. They're getting moved out of Nassau Coliseum after, it could be next year, it could be the year after. Targeted is 2015, after that season is over. They'll be moved to Brooklyn. Really. Really. It's painful. It's painful. Hey. What do you want? Is this any surprise? Nah. Anyway. With that said, this is your Island Bitter. Peace and out for now.